What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Quick check-in. We did go ahead and add a box fan. It is currently off because it's really loud. Underneath of our cards here to kind of push air upwards and outwards to help out to get the hot air kind of away from the cards. I did also add a box fan over here to the window that we have, pushing air out. This is all in place right now until we get the basement renovated, if you guys have seen some of my other videos. And this is some additional cooling we're going to be adding in here shortly. We'll have some videos going over that as well. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact of what mining supplies do you really need to get started to take it from, hey, I want to mine on my gaming computer or my home desktop computer, and where do I take it? Wow, it's really unfocused. There we go. And I want to take it up a level. Like, what's my next step from mining on my home computer here? Like, this is my gaming rig. I don't mine on this gaming rig only because I have other sources for mining. This is running the 2080 Super XC in it for gaming purposes. So what I want to go over is a few different things here, and you don't need to break the bank to do a lot of these, but I wanted to discuss them, especially for our new miners out there that are interested in getting into the space, that are interested in taking what you have now to that next step. Going from gaming computer to where do we go from there? So I want to show you guys a quick example here. We do have a previous video. We talked about this little tiny rig here. So this is pretty much a $50 setup right here, except for the video card. And what this is this is a motherboard directly out of an old HP tower, running like a Pentium 4 in it. It's got 4 gigs of memory in it, and all it's doing right now is I use it for my test bench, but it's mining Ethereum right now. So you don't have to go crazy. Now this is a 1-slot setup. If I wanted to add more cards to this, you can get a PCI Express card to go to like a 1 to 4 scenario, and then you could support multiple cards using risers and stuff like that. I could take this and move it down into this VETA frame, which is not entirely necessary, but you could utilize, and then you could add some GPU risers to it, and that could be your next step. This is where I started. I started with this frame right here, and I took everything out of there and moved it over to here because we outgrew 6 cards and we grew to our 12 cards. So that's a quick option there. So I wanted to go over some other supplies that I have that I keep readily available for me as I try to continue to grow as a miner. So going down the kind of line here, I always recommend that you guys go ahead and pick up a voltage meter. This one you can find on Amazon. It is a Kilowatt, is the name of the brand. It works really, really well. It supports up to, I believe it's 18,000 or 1800 watts. So go ahead and take a look at that, but then you can always keep an eye on how much you're actually drawing. Always going to need your tools, small screwdrivers. Magnetic dish is my best friend for some of these little tools. We also have Q-tips to go along with our Artic silver. I recommend that for your thermal paste to replace thermal paste on all of your cards that you do get in that are pre-owned. It's always good to do that, just as a rule of thumb. Boatloads of zip ties in here, zap straps, as RPM calls them, rubber bands, stuff like that. We got alcohol wipes, some electronic wipes there. We have our alcohol as well, some cleaning wipes just to keep things nice, clean, and tidy. So some other things you're going to need is GPU risers. So a brand that I have used, not sponsored by them, gpurisers.com. I have a whole bunch of their risers in the rig over here, but you're going to need these as you continue to grow. I recommend ordering these ahead of time to what you need. So these are additional risers for me as I grow, and I can add in additional cards, so I have them readily available, and I'm not waiting for GPU risers to get them back in stock. In the past, they've always kind of done like batch orders and stuff like that, so don't wait on these. You're also going to need drives. I recommend solid state drives. You don't have to go with a solid state drive. A lot of people just go with the USB drive, like something over here, running like Hive OS. But you can also go ahead and run one there for like Windows 10 to do 2 different OSs if you needed to for testing. These you can get really cheap, like 20 bucks, guys. 20 bucks for like a solid state drive now, 120 gigs. or less, and that's perfect. Power supplies are huge. I recommend that you don't cheap out on the power supply. This is a 650 watt gold EVGA that I got with my 3060 over here. Random light bulb. Hello. Put that aside. So talking about ATX power supplies, you most likely will need these to get started. I mean, I have one right over here set up with that little HP setup that we have there for our little test bench. In addition to that, you can start to look into cheaper solutions. So these are your HP. These are a little bit older, actually. So these are actually HP 750 watt power supplies, and they do have the breakout board here, which this is a separate piece. And what this allows you to do is what I have running over here. So I have the 6 to 8 pins. So these go ahead and power my cards. They power my risers as well. Completely separate than our ATX board, which is really just focused on my motherboard. So these are great. You can find them. I found mine on Amazon. A buddy of mine hooked me up with these as he wasn't using these anymore. So these are 750 watt, and then they have a smaller breakout board here, but they do the trick if you need to. So you can always look into, do you go with an avenue like this, or a lot of the bigger miners will go with like 1200 watt EVGA power supplies, but that price point's a little steep for me right now, so I haven't gone that direction. In addition to that, let's talk about cables, some of the stuff that you're going to need. So these are splitter cables to split your 6 and 8 pin cables. A lot of people will use these to do one lead off of the ATX power supply or one of these power supplies, and then split and power both of your risers. I will power 2 risers off of one 6-pin setup there. We have our USB A to A cables. You'll most likely will need these at some point in order to go from your GPU risers to the actual PCIe adapter card in your motherboard. You're also going to need fun stuff like this. Like these are your 6 pin to 8 pin cables. So the 6 pin will go right into here, and the 8 pin will go into your card, or you can undo it and take that 8 pin down to a 2 pin. Or I'm sorry, 8 pin down to a 6 pin. These guys here are actually old. They're older. These are some donated from a friend of mine. These are just super long 6 to 6 pin cables that we do have. Haven't had a use for them yet, but always nice to have those available. So these are kind of some extra cables and stuff like that. You always want to have stuff laying around so that you're not being held up from starting mining, because as soon as you get that GPU and you want to start cranking out that hash rate on that in particular. Other than that, that's just a few things that I keep readily available in my supplies as a new miner. I am a new miner, 100%. I've only been doing this since January, and my first video came out in February. So as I was saying, guys, I am a new miner. I only really started back in January, actually. My first video didn't come out till February, and I started on this rig just 3 months ago. There's nothing wrong with this, but I wanted to go ahead and go from 6 cards to 12 cards like I talked about. So a simple Veta frame could do the trick, but they're so expensive right now, so a lot of people are building these themselves to get started. So if you guys are looking to go ahead and move from your gaming rig and mining on your gaming GPU, and you want to start getting your hands on some cards, I highly recommend you look at a setup like this. You could take a $50 HP tower, slap it in to a Veta frame or something alternative to it, and get your power supply, get your GPU risers, and put them in place. Get a PCIe splitter type of deal, and get that all set up, and you could be off to the races. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What are some mining supplies that you guys always keep on hand? And how long have you guys been mining? Most of you guys are in this space, have been mining far longer than I have at this point. You guys have been doing this for a significantly longer time period. What are some items that are your must-haves? I must have this. I mean, maybe it's, hey, I gotta have 12 gauge, extension cords. For me, that's exactly, that's my bread and butter right now is extension cords. You can see down here because my basement is not wired yet properly to support everything I need to. That's why these additional cards have not gone into this rig yet. I can't support it from a power consumption route. So that was an oversight on my part. So maybe that's another one that we add to the list there, is just making sure that you have the electrical throughput to support your mining hobby that you're getting into. Well, guys, this was a quick video today, under 10 minutes here, I guess, give or take, just talking about taking mining from your gaming rig into what's that next step, and some of the supplies that I have that I use day to day as I continue to grow as a miner. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That'll go ahead and push YouTube to recommend this video to other people on YouTube looking in the mining space. And if you enjoy the content and you want to see more of this content next time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.